Hello everyone, welcome to the Glow podcast. I'm here today with a very exciting guest. I have Brian here with me. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome to the Glow podcast. We are tailored marketing and we help healthcare companies grow their businesses through marketing strategies. Brian, I'm so excited to have you here. If you can, just kind of go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction to who you are.
Taylor, thanks for having me. So my name is Brian Burke. I'm president of a company called Electromedical Products International, or EPI. We focus on non-invasive brain stimulation, or better yet, neuromodulation therapeutics. So I come from a little bit of background. I come from about 20 years of med tech experience, focused in private companies, publicly traded, and private equity held institutions, spanning a wide variety of sectors, currently in neuromodulation, prior experiences in dental implants and oral maxillofacial surgery, as well as then orthopedics and spine.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's so cool. And you've had quite the journey kind of in healthcare and the med tech space. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about what led you to Electromedical Products International?
Sure. Led me to EPI was the opportunity to lead a company with clinically validated non-invasive technology. With technology that leads in the mental health space. So, psychiatric disorders or mental health, unfortunately, are not going away. It's unfortunately, they're getting worse. So there's some real opportunities within the space from a non-invasive, and as I mentioned, a neuromodulation therapeutic standpoint to really help out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and we'll kind of get into that too a little bit, talking more about the products specifically that you all have and sell. And so what kind of, could you talk like a little bit more to Alpha-Stim and other products that you all have that are helping in this mental health care space?
Sure. So we have two devices that are commercially available today. It's what's known as our Alpha-Stim technology. We have one that focuses predominantly on anxiety and insomnia, and the other one that goes ahead and focuses on anxiety, insomnia, and pain. It's a patented waveform that delivers a low current of a microcurrent, whereby, for example, Alpha-Stim cranial electrotherapy stimulation is you're just going ahead and putting ear clips on your earlobes. And it's through that process whereby they send a unique low-level electrical current to the brain. So therefore, what we're doing is, in the technical sense, we're modulating cortical oscillations in the temporal lobe and we're stimulating key cranial nerves. Basically, what we're doing is we're redirecting pathological signaling in order to balance out the brain, get rid of the anxiety, overcome the insomnia. Then also too, we have what's known as microcurrent electrical therapy, which focuses predominantly on pain. So pain at the site. So using probes, using electrodes, whether you're having shoulder pain, back pain, knee pain, hip pain, we're able to use that therapy in order to go ahead and reduce that pain and get a patient back to healthiness.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. It's very cool to be able to use alternative forms kind of medicine rather than like, could this replace something like prescription medicine, or like what primarily are you kind of replacing this with compared to like more, I guess, forms of medicine?
Sure. So we're on the journey and the verge of getting there as it pertains to this being a primary solution for providers to treat patients. There are pharmaceutical options that are available that are out there. However, the nice thing about Alpha-Stim and the Alpha-Stim technology is there's really no side effects. And then also, in order to go ahead and get better, you're not having to go ahead and go through other unfortunate experience that perhaps other modalities, pharmaceutical drugs, can offer you in that process. Plus also too, it's non-invasive. So it's the best of both worlds. It's a very, very impeccable, or Alpha-Stim has a very impeccable safety profile, as well as it's easy to use and it adheres to the patient's lifestyle instead of the other way around.
Yeah, so no side effects, and then also, like you said, non-invasive, so like you can walk out of there, go drive your car, like do whatever you want. Basically, you don't have really any downtime afterwards.
Basically, yes. I would say on the driving car standpoint, we kind of say no to that, but you can go walk around your house, you can clean your house, you can do the laundry, you can go ahead and continue your daily life. Where we say that, hey,
Yeah.
maybe we should refrain from driving is the fact that it's intensity and duration. So the more anxiety somebody has, the greater the effect our technology has right away. So it basically melts the anxiety away and puts someone in a very relaxed state.
That's awesome. And so how long does that typically last for with the anxiety and insomnia aspect? Like how often are people typically getting treatments?
So typically people are getting treatment or utilize the Alpha-Stim anywhere from 20 minutes to 60 minutes a day. There are some people
Okay.
who say that after a few weeks they have a noticeable different. There's some after a few days that see a noticeable different as well. We have other people that and patients that are users of the technology that have also used the technology every day and have stayed faithful to it for 7 to 10 years. So
Wow.
it really varies, and it's contingent on the actual patient and their needs. And of course, going ahead and speaking with a provider to see what's best for that individual.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so with the Alpha-Stim that treats anxiety and you said insomnia as well, what does kind of like a typical patient look like for you all?
Taylor, it varies. We see such
Yeah.
a wide variety of individuals or patients that go ahead and utilize our technology, ranging from veterans who are seeking relief to just your individuals that are out there that are professionals working in professional environments, to college students per se, to first responders, which has been a great area of our focus that has really, the first responder community has really embraced our technology in helping those individuals overcome the stresses or the trauma that they see, and doing it with non-pharmaceutical solution as Alpha-Stim is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because especially with something like a first responder, you want to have, of course, a lot of mental clarity, and sometimes pharmaceuticals can kind of affect that in a way. And so that definitely makes sense. And what do you feel like you see for growth with Alpha-Stim? Obviously, there's a ton of growth. Like you said, mental health is unfortunately not going anywhere, but obviously we're creating new solutions and everything every day to kind of help with this sector of healthcare. And so what do you kind of see the growth looking like over the next 5 to 10 years? Because it seems like it's kind of endless.
So the growth is definitely there. It comes down to just understanding and acknowledgement. So as a company, we do what we can in order to go ahead and bring forth our technology to as many people as possible in many situations, many institutions. We are a global company, so we are currently expanding globally speaking. But when it comes down to just people understanding that you have your physical health and you have your mental health, and everybody's has always been focused on their physical health, but it's also good to check in on your mental health to make sure that you're at your optimal best. We see this with,
Yeah.
and like I mentioned, in professionals, they have. It's been interesting to see so many professionals come about requesting our technology and our devices in order to make sure that they're just they have the sleep that they need, they can focus. It's no different also than with college students, for example. There's a lot of college students that are going through a lot right now these days. We understand it, we know it. We want to make sure that we're there for them to take care of their anxiety, but also make sure that they get the necessary sleep they need in order to go ahead and ascertain that information and have a wonderful college experience. So there's really no limit to our technology and where we can go. It just comes down to having platforms like this and the work you do in order to go ahead and create the awareness.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. It's making people aware of these things, that your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and also making people aware that there are alternatives to pharmaceuticals, because before us speaking about this, I wasn't super aware that this existed. So like I'm very grateful as well for you for doing this and educating people on this, because it is such a great alternative to taking pharmaceuticals, because I feel like a lot of people are maybe a little bit more hesitant with having to rely on like taking a pill daily.
Right. And we're an option.
Yeah.
It's not to say we're the end all
Yeah.
be all. but we are now more of a pronounced option than ever before. I think, when you come and look at the neuromodulation space and the neuromodulation therapeutic technologies that are coming out, it's just another solution in order to go ahead and get treatment, which is becoming more of a preferred treatment among so many within society, rather than the prototypical process that you just described earlier.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so Alpha-Stim is FDA cleared. So can you share how that kind of impacts with trust with your patients and within the medical community that you all are FDA cleared?
It's a very big point for us in terms of making sure that not only the public, but also the medical community understands that as we are FDA cleared, we go through a rigorous process to ensure clinical efficacy. That we have the clinical studies that shows our science in motion, our science in action, and that what the provider will expect upon our technology for the patient, as well as the patient is going to expect, it actually works. There's a lot of, call them different type of neuromodulation or wearables that are out there currently in the market that don't have the clinical studies, aren't FDA cleared. So it helps us to distinguish from all the noise that's going on, that when someone is looking to really get over a disease state like anxiety or insomnia, or even to overcome pain, our technology works, and it's been proven to work.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what would you say to providers who are interested in neuromodulation, but they might be kind of hesitant to adopt new tools into their practice?
I would say start small, but make sure you start, and the sooner the better. The technology is not going away. And what's interesting is the amount of calls that EPI gets from patients and individuals that are seeking out our technology because they heard it from a family member, a friend, and then they're saying, well, my goodness, okay. And we tell them, look, we are an FDA cleared device, and therefore you need a prescription from a licensed practitioner. And then they're the ones going to their primary care physician, integrative doctor, or whomever that's a licensed practitioner saying, hey, look, I want this device. So it's good. It's good that we're getting those experiences, but I think from a provider standpoint, getting an understanding of these technologies that are coming out, like Alpha-Stim, how we can help patients, and I think also to take that forward, we're getting a lot of providers that are contacting us as well, and we work with a lot of providers to mitigate, for example, healthcare burnout or provider burnout. So we're very much working with hospitals and clinics across the United States to provide our technology to those to make sure, again, they have the reduced anxiety, they're feeling rested so that they can go ahead and be more effective and at that peak performance, as I previously mentioned, for treating patients and working with patients.
Yeah, no, and I feel like you brought up such a cool thing too. I feel like we live in a time where patients, consumers, whatever you want to call them, they're so educated, they have so much access to resources, which is so amazing because things like podcasts, obviously the internet, social media, we have so much access to information to learn about these things and even bring them to our doctors, to our providers and be like, hey, I saw this, have you are you getting this? Or, do you know somebody who has access to this? And so I think that that's really, really cool that you all have seen that on your side as well, where patients are taking the time to really do the education for themselves.
It's a great thing to see. And then when the provider says, well, I'll look into it a little bit more, and then providers are calling saying, well, I didn't know you guys had so much in terms of clinical studies on your device and your technology alone. So it's great for us because then we build relationships with the provider, and we've got a phenomenal customer service, technical support, as well as medical affairs team that's not only there for the provider to help them and answer any questions, but also to work with any patients who gets our device or gets our technology and needs to understand, walking through the infrastructure or the IFUs or instructions for use on how to use our device. So we offer a full line support for them, as well as the provider as well.
That's amazing. And so, from a growth perspective, what's kind of been the biggest challenge in really educating and scaling Alpha-Stim, and expanding its adoption among practitioners as well as with patients? And I'm sure there's different challenges kind of for both because they are such different markets, but what's kind of been those biggest challenges for you guys?
Well, I think it comes down to, I speak with a lot of providers who say, wow, I didn't have this back in medical school, or I didn't have it when I first started out, to patients that just simply know. So it's a lot of awareness. We're now working with a considerable amount of different specialists.
Yeah.
For example, in the dental world, procedural anxiety is very real, and dentists understand that, and they respect that to the point where they're looking for solutions to that. So what we're seeing here recently in the last couple of years is, even as we have a footprint in psychiatry and neurology, there's dentists that are coming forward saying, I want your technology, or I've used your technology and I see how it's a better overall patient experience for the individuals that I'm treating. So we're seeing the Alpha-Stim technology in those types of offices. But I think overall, it just comes down to, we have a phenomenal medical technology that has a lot of utility, and we work with a very wide and diverse group of providers and patients in order to go ahead and help them seek relief for mental health or pain.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what role do you think clinical efficacy and regulatory compliance play in standing out in the neuromodulation or mental health tech space, with you all having your FDA clearance, and then also just any other like clinical trials like you were talking about earlier that kind of sets you apart in this space?
It's just that further validation. So when we sit down with, for example, subject matter experts who want that data, they want to see the results, we have it. So it makes the conversation that much more easier when we present all the clinical studies that we have, and we can put them in someone's hand and they read through them. They're a little bit more calmer. They're a little bit, they rest assured that, hey, okay, this isn't just a device. This is the device that has gone through testing, that has the speculation with regards to use and results. We've proven that in so many different types of environments. I think that just adds more credence and credibility to what we do, and we're going to continue to do that. As we have these medical devices and this technology that's readily available today, we continue to go ahead and we'll do clinical studies, and we will work with those subject matter experts or institutions to continue to show that our technology is effective and the efficacy is there, and most importantly is our safety profile, which is absolutely impeccable.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And obviously, neuromodulation, like you talked about, is going to be continuing to grow. It's definitely a growing industry. What do you see kind of for the biggest opportunities over the next 5 to 10 years kind of in this space, and where it's headed?
I'd say the biggest opportunity in the next 5 to 10 years is, for example, we talked about it. You have college students that are out there. You have other types of organizations. You have, for example, corporate entities that are looking and saying, okay, what do we do in order to go ahead and ensure that we're giving the best support and health for our employees or our team members? So we're having the conversation. We're also having the conversation with, again, there's other specialists that are out there who are like, hey, I need to know more about this because I bumped into a former doctor that I used to work with, or someone that I used to be in practice or residence with, who was speaking about this technology the other day. The beautiful thing about this is in the neuromodulation space, it's going so fast, and the advancements are absolutely so profound. So it really positions a company like EPI, or with Alpha-Stim, at the forefront of novel technologies in order to go ahead and offer non-invasive stimulation or brain stimulation without drugs. So we'll continue to go ahead and harbor that message and expand upon that message. But for the next 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of different areas that we'll focus and continue to grow. But it just, again, it comes back to awareness and making sure that everyone's aware of what we offer and how we can help.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like, yeah, that growing awareness is super important. And I think the two groups that you brought up, people within kind of like the working industry and then college students, those are two classes that are probably plagued by anxiety the most kind of in our population. It's just like the world we live in, of course, like majority of people have experienced some form of anxiety at one point in their life. It's not foreign to anyone. We live in a stressful world.
Very much so. And when you talk about college, for example, that's a big investment financially. And our
Yeah.
technology, it's not overly expensive. So it's a small investment to make to ensure that greater investment pays off within those years that someone's in college or university and then moving in order to go ahead and set up a professional life for them moving forward.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. And so, how can everyday people, whether it's students, working class, veterans, busy professionals, start accessing technologies like Alpha-Stim? I know that you said you all obviously are in practices kind of around the US, kind of depending on, dental, whatever. But how would it be easy for them to find Alpha-Stim if they're looking for it?
Sure. So we have a great website with a lot of information, and it's not just so much information in print form, but also videos, illustrations on our technology, how to use it, as well as a lot of testimonials. We keep and maintain a very high presence on social media. So when it comes to the LinkedIn, the Instagrams, we're there. And I think it's important to note that we get a lot of testimonials, unsolicited testimonials from individuals that are going ahead, making videos and saying, this has changed my life, or providers that are saying, I use the Alpha-Stim and this is what it does, and this is how I have seen it change my patients' lives. So it's very simple. Our website is alpha-stim.com, so www.alpha-stim.com, where anybody can go take a look at our information technology, and also through that site they can go ahead and get in touch with us. As I mentioned, I'm very proud of our customer service and tech support, as well as our medical affairs team of amazing individuals that go ahead. They answer calls, they spend the time with the individuals, as well as provide answering questions on our technology. So that is the best approach in order to go ahead and get a hold of us.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time so much. And I will include also all of that information that you just gave in the show notes, so it's easy access for everybody to find you. And yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with anyone?
No, not at this point. I just, thank you for your platform and being able to go ahead and convey what we do and the impact that we make on so many lives. And we're just going to continue to do the work and do the mission of what our organization does, and that's to help people with a non-invasive solution, a drug-free solution to treat, for example, anxiety, insomnia, and pain.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, Taylor.